This is Andrew with Jordan Home Inspections. This is part 2 of the sewer scope here on Gooseberry Circle. Okay, I've got my camera pushed out as far as I can get it. I think I've dropped into the city line. The sun was kind of beating down on my screen, and so I think I missed dropping into the city line, but we'll pull it back, and it should be obvious when we transition back to your lateral line. So like I said, I'm assuming that this is a city line. You never want to see standing water, but in a city line, they're much larger lines, and so it's easier to be underwater. They're also, being larger lines, can have less grade or less slope. And so I'm not going to call that a concern until we don't see a transition, at which point that could be a concern. Starting to pull out of it there. 116 feet out. Right there. Okay, that's the transition. So from this point forward is going to be your lateral line. Very good. Sometimes when I'm running water, it's splashing on the camera head, and if I make that turn, I don't always notice that it transitions. So this is your lateral line here. This is PVC. This is what they use on most new construction. 116 feet out, which is a little on the longer end. 116 feet out, plus I think you had 84 feet in the basement before I came out to this outside clean out. Little bit of standing water there, which indicates a little bit of a belly. Wasn't incredibly long, but you did have some buildup in the area. When you have standing water, that indicates bad grade. You always want everything to go on its own with gravity. You don't want it just sitting in the line where it's going to create a sticky spot where it's more likely to back up or create a blockage where it can back up. But this is looking good. No standing water, no offsets where the pipes have become disconnected. Very good. So there was a little bit of standing water, which is certainly not ideal. That's a spot where you're more likely to get waste that collects and could lead to a blockage. A lot of times people don't notice they have a little belly like that because water tends to build up enough that oftentimes it'll just flush out the waste. But it's also not ideal, and the only way to permanently fix it would be to dig it up and reslope it. I'm going to end this recording now.